This video is our review of the Itiwit X100 inflatable kayak. In this video we cover the unboxing and setup of the kayak, its build quality, how the Itiwit performed over numerous journeys, and the pros and cons of this kayak. Regarding pricing, we bought the 365 cm long 1 or 2 person version of the Itiwit X100 for £400. There is a larger version of this kayak which is 410 cm long and which is described as a 2 or 3 person kayak, and that usually costs about £500. Do not confuse it with the cheaper version which is just called the Itiwit 100 without the X. Regarding dimensions, the X100 that we are reviewing is 365 cm long and 103 cm wide at the widest point. The weight of the kayak, backpack and the seats is about 16 kilograms and is very portable compared to many other inflatable kayaks we have. The maximum load is 195 kilograms or 430 pounds, so it will accommodate either 1 or 2 people. Regarding the unboxing, the Itiwit X100 kayak arrived in a box which weighed about 17 kilograms. The carry bag is quite compact and much lighter than the large wheelie bags that we've had with some of the other kayaks that we bought. We did though find it a squeeze to get the kayak and the seats back into the bag after deflating them. The package includes 2 inflatable seats, more on those later. 3 SKEGS are also included in the bag, again more on those later. A repair kit is also included with patches for covering any punctures that you may get on the kayak, although this does not include the glue which you'd need to buy separately. Instructions are included within the box and an inflation guide is also written on the inside of the backpack. No paddles or a pump are included, so you need to buy these separately unless you have your own already. Regarding inflation and setup of the Itiwit X100, this is very simple. The hull is first rolled out completely. The kayak has 2 side chambers and a separate drop stitch floor, each inflatable via its own valve. The drop stitch floor is inflated first to a pressure of 5 psi. The inflated floor is placed in the bottom of the kayak. In the front and in the back of the hull are 2 straps which you tighten around the drop stitch floor to keep it firmly in place. The 2 side pontoons are then inflated to 3 psi. Inflating the floor and the 2 side pontoons takes about 10 to 12 minutes or so using a hand pump. You could use an electric pump to save a bit of time and effort, but you would still need to use a hand pump to finish off each of the side pontoons and the drop stitch floor to the desired pressure. After the kayak is fully inflated, mount the 3 small fins on the bottom of the kayak. The inflatable cushions of the seats are inflated via a small Boston valve, either with an air pump or just using your mouth, which is easier. With the seats you basically just need to adjust the 4 straps to get the required tightness to ensure that the seats do not move around. The seats also have Velcro pads underneath which stick to the Velcro strips on the drop stitch floor to help stop the seats from moving around when you are paddling. Concerning on the water tests, the X100 is quite roomy when used solo due to its length and width. It did not feel cumbersome though in solo mode, in the same way that our tandem full drop stitch kayak was when we used that solo. As a tandem, the X100 is compact and what we would call a small tandem. However, unless both paddlers were about 6'2" or over, then the Itiwit X100 is big enough to be used comfortably as a tandem. We found that if you put the rear seat right the way back as far as it possibly can go, then this helps to maximise the cockpit space. The firm drop stitch floor means that getting into and out of the kayak is very easy, and also means that you do not get water pooling around your seat. We found the Itiwit X100 to be very stable due to the width of the kayak and also down to the flat hull shape. The kayak tracked okay, although not quite as well as some of the inflatable kayaks that we've used, which have more of a V-shaped hull. The front and rear decks have bungee cords for securing items to carry on the decks. Items can also be stashed underneath the front and rear decks. There are no footrests with this kayak, although due to its compact size, in tandem mode the front person may simply find themselves pushing their feet against whatever bag or items they have stashed under the front deck, while the rear passenger could possibly push their feet against the base of the front seat. The seat bases can be inflated to whatever pressure and firmness you desire. When fully inflated, they are quite firm, and the seat base is then about 10 centimeters deep, which we feel is so high as to start to affect stability. Other than on canals, we actually preferred using our existing seats rather than using the Itiwit seats. If you only partially inflate the seat bases, they are then quite squidgy and seem to exacerbate the roll of the kayak from left to right as you paddle, since your weight then seems to shift from left to right more. The X100 is not the fastest kayak, and Itiwit have prioritised stability over speed. While not a scientific test, we did actually have a race on a stretch of the Monmouthshire and Brecon Canal one day, with me in the Itiwit versus Archie in a two-tager hardshell kayak versus Ethan and Ewan in our full drop stitch kayak, which is very similar to the Evolution 2 or Sandbanks Optimal. Since the canal was not that wide, I had to start just behind the others. Ethan and Ewan started to pull ahead slightly after about 200 metres, but I think this was largely due to the fact that two paddlers in a tandem will usually be faster than one person solo in fairly comparable kayaks. Concerning the pros of the X100 kayak, firstly, the Itiwit X100 is a very stable kayak due to its width and flat hull. Secondly, the drop stitch floor provides a firm and dry base to sit on, and you can even stand on it if you want to use it paddleboard style. Thirdly, the backs of the seats stay in place well once you get the straps right, and the inflatable bases of the seat are comfortable to sit on. Fourthly, it is a nice size kayak to be used both as a spacious solo kayak, but also as a compact tandem kayak. Fifthly, it is a very light and portable kayak, especially compared to some full drop stitch kayaks that we have. We were amazed at how light it was compared to our tandem full drop stitch kayak that we call the Bismarck due to the size and weight of it. Sixthly, the removable floor makes it easier to both clean and dry out compared to our full drop stitch kayaks, which do not have removable floors. Regarding the cons of the X100, firstly, it does not track the best due to the three SKEGS being very short and also due to the hull being very flat. Secondly, it is slower compared to many other inflatable kayaks, although not significantly so in our experience. Thirdly, we did not find the side pontoons to be that durable. We got a couple of small holes in the right pontoon after only the fourth time using it, we think from brushing up against bushes on the canal side when pulling in to let canal boats pass. Fourthly, the seat bases, when fully inflated, result in you sitting quite high, which can affect stability. If you only partially inflate the seat bases, then you sort of feel like you're sat on a water pillow and your weight tends to shift around. Fifthly, it lacks footrests to brace your feet against. We improvised by using pieces of PVC plumbing pipe that we'd cut to length, with straps threaded through them, which were then secured to buckles on the side pontoon. In summary, we did like the Itiwit X100 from the get-go, since we'd always take stability over speed. The main negatives were that we would have preferred a higher pressure drop stitch floor, footrests, better SKEGS and more durable side pontoons. We also did not really get on with the inflatable seat bases. The Itiwit X100 is just about the right size to use both tandem and solo for most people, and the package as a whole is very light, compact and portable. If you predominantly want to paddle tandem rather than solo, or if you were a pair of paddlers who were both tall, or your combined weight is in excess of the maximum load of 195 kilograms, then you'd be better off with a longer version, which is 410 centimeters long. However, if you mainly paddle solo rather than tandem, or if you were simply after a compact and portable tandem, then we think you will enjoy the X100. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, then consider subscribing by clicking on the left below. If you want to see more of our product review videos, then click on the button for our playlist for product and gear reviews on the right below. Happy paddling from the Kayak crew.